You know that very specific type of terror that hits when a totally ordinary day just shatters? I mean, in a matter of literally seconds? We all have those quiet, peaceful moments where we feel completely secure, especially when we're right outside our own front doors. Well, welcome to this explainer, because today we're going to look at a piece of CCTV footage that absolutely dismantles that illusion of safety. We're going to break down an incident that recently made headlines, analyzing the footage and the hard facts to understand exactly how a routine afternoon turned into a deeply terrifying ordeal.
Picture the scene for a second. It's a standard afternoon, entirely unthreatening. There's this deceptive, almost heavy calm right before the violence erupts. And honestly, it's exactly this contrast between a totally mundane, everyday interaction and a sudden, vicious assault that makes this case so incredibly chilling. We're not talking about a dark, deserted alleyway here. It was a normal conversation that seemed perfectly fine until the very second it wasn't.
And really, that brings us to the core of what we're looking at today. How did a simple request for an address turn into a violent dragging on a Ludhiana street? Okay, let's dive into this. We're going to piece together the timeline, the tactics of the attackers, and the incredible, albeit incredibly dangerous reaction of the victim, all of which was captured in stark detail on camera.
Section 1. A harmless request turns violent. The deceptive calm before the storm.
Think about how relatable it is to just sit outside your house, maybe scrolling on your phone, catching up on messages. That is exactly what the woman in our source material was doing here in New Kirti Nagar, which is a locality in Ludhiana. She was in her own territory, right under the jurisdiction of the Modi Nagar police station, completely unaware that she had just become a target. Establishing this exact location is actually absolutely crucial, because the context of this specific neighborhood plays a massive role in the aftermath of the crime, as you'll see.
Section 2. Breaking down the CCTV sequence, step by step to the attacker's tactics.
You know, when you watch crimes like this unfold in real life, they often just look like pure chaos. But analyzing the footage reveals something else entirely. Now, what's really interesting about this is the calculated methodology at play. Step 1 is the approach and the ruse. They pretend to ask for an address just to lower her guard. Then, boom, Step 2, the snatch. In mere moments after asking that fake question, the attacker grabs her mobile phone. And immediately, Step 3, a hit-and-run rush straight back to the getaway vehicle. 3. That is the critical number for understanding the frankly overwhelming odds this victim was facing. There wasn't just one attacker out there. 3 youths arrived on a single motorcycle. While one of them executed the actual snatch, 2 accomplices were already positioned on the bike. The engine was likely running, and they were completely ready to flee the exact moment that phone was secured. So we're looking at a highly coordinated trio.
Section 3, the chase and the dragging. The victim fights back.
Now, instead of freezing in shock, which, let's be honest, is a completely natural human response to sudden trauma, the footage shows her instantly screaming for help and actually running right after them. The situation reaches a really desperate climax right here. She manages to catch up, and she physically grabs hold of one of the seated youths in a frantic attempt to get her property back. You can almost feel the pure adrenaline and panic of that split second. She's literally attempting to halt a machine with sheer human willpower.
But they don't stop. They speed off. They actively hit the throttle while she is still holding on. This right here is where a theft escalates into a potentially lethal physical assault in real time. The sheer callousness of accelerating a motorcycle while a human being is clinging to it, it's just a terrifying escalation of the situation.
To put that into perspective, the horrifying speed of this entire event is just staggering. At 0 seconds, the snatch happens. By second 2, she has chased them down and grabbed the rider. But from second 5 to second 8, she is violently dragged along the hard road surface for several moments and ultimately pushed onto the street before the attackers finally managed to flee. It is literally a lifetime of trauma, all packed into less than 10 seconds of footage.
Section 4. A community on edge. Neighbors step out. Frustration sets in.
So, let's zoom out for a second from the victim's microscopic view to the macroscopic view of the entire neighborhood. The woman's screams drew her neighbors out from their homes, but this single piece of footage actually acts as a boiling point. The source notes massive growing concern among residents because over recent months, there's been a noticeable increase in incidents of theft and snatching in this exact locality. So this wasn't just an isolated anomaly for them, It was the latest, most violent manifestation of an ongoing, really troubling trend.
And the frustration here is just palpable. Local residents have pointed out that, quote, despite repeated incidents, criminal activity in the area remains unchecked. They are watching their own streets become hunting grounds, and this horrifying footage
To them, it's undeniable proof of an abandoned, spiraling situation. So the crucial point here is how the neighborhood feels entirely left to fend for themselves. It's a powerful statement of vulnerability.
So what does this all mean? It leaves us with a deeply important, almost unsettling question. What is the threshold of a community's tolerance for unchecked crime? And at what cost do we fight back? When just sitting outside your own home carries a serious risk, and fighting for your stolen property can lead to being literally dragged down the street, the balance of community safety is totally broken. It's a stark, powerful reminder of the realities faced when residents feel like criminal activity is just left to fester.